What's good? It's Drew Shafino with the podcast Eat Shit Pit podcast. Today I got my man. This is my first podcast with the Eat Shit Pit podcast, but I had to bring my man, Pittsburgh guy, a WVU Hall of Famer, NFL Super Bowl champion, the one and only Mike Logan.
What's good, Drew?
What's good, man?
Man, I'm happy to be your first guest, and I know this is going to do numbers, baby.
Because you know me, people look at me, wow, what you think about the whole? No, I had to get the Eat Shit Pit podcast.
Right, no doubt. Listen, it's a battle in my crib right now because my kids, my younger kids, they ended up meeting Coach Capel in the barbershop right up here in the hill, right? And he was talking to him. So I'm like, Coach, you know this is eating at my heart right now.
No, Coach Capel, I know. You know, he recruited my nephew.
Right.
Capel brothers is cool. They cool.
Good people.
They good people. Though.
Sat and talked to my sons and everything. So when my sons got in the car, they was like, Dad, we like him. Coach Capel's kind of cool. You know what I mean? We might be ready to go to Pitt. I'm like, well, hell, if they offer you a free scholarship, we all down for it. I mean, but I bleed that country road, blue and gold. You know what I'm saying? So I'm down with the Eat Shit Pit podcast.
Speaking of, what you think about them getting Coach Rod?
You know, I don't really know him. I don't really have a relationship with him. But from the alumni that I've talked to who played for him and do know him, they feel like he's going to get some of the old vibes back of where WVU was. And that's what we need because, truthfully, over the past couple of regimes, I felt disconnected from the university. And as a Hall of Fame alumnus, I shouldn't feel disconnected from my university. You know what I'm saying? So if he's able to bridge that gap between the alumni and the new players and just getting back to that winning tradition of West Virginia football, then I'm all for it. But if it's going to be the same old, you know, I'm going to give him a chance.
I think, I was there with Coach Rod.
Okay.
So you was there with Nealon, obviously.
No doubt.
When I got to Nealon,
you're telling my age now, you know what I mean?
That's what I mean. But no, Coach Rod, he's good. He knows how he's good. When he was there, he was, WVU's top 10 program.
No doubt. But listen, every other university that I talked to my boys about who played in the league, who played at West Virginia, we feel like outsiders.
Outsiders,
to our program.
Yeah.
And I'm saying our program because back in the 90s, that's when it was built. The late 80s and the 90s, especially the football part of it. And basketball, too, because that's when they was doing the old Big East and all that. You know what I'm saying? So we felt like, we got some roots in that program and the foundations of it. So you can't, I know as you grow and the limbs get longer, you can't forget about the foundation.
So I never knew.
You know
so Coach Rod ain't mess with the former players?
Well, the thing is,
I know you was in the league. I was in the league at the time.
And I was at Jacksonville, during that time and kind of away. So I was already disconnected, but there wasn't no rapport.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To keep me connected to it. Now, there were some guys at the school who I was able to talk to during that regime and during his tenure that kept us in the loop of stuff. But after that, after Coach, I think Stewart was gone.
Stewart, You know Stewart?
I didn't know Stewart, but Stewart still, he reached out.
Yeah, Stewart was cool. Yeah,
he was cool.
He was a good man, though.
Yeah,
Stewart,
so,
after that was, Hogerson or no?
No, I didn't really know Hogerson. I didn't know Hogerson. And at that time, they were doing good things, but that's when we started kind of feeling like as alumnus that they kind of forgot about that history and tradition of the program. Yeah. And where
no, they did though, because you had dudes like Steve Slayton.
Oh yeah,
they was talking about they felt like damn man, they can't even.
I can't lie though, they had some dudes. They had some dudes come through that program that make you forget about some of the old dudes. You know what I'm saying?
People always ask me like, people say who you got, Major Harris or Pat White? People always, that's the question. People always ask me who was better, Major Harris or Pat White?
You asking me?
Yeah. Who you got?
Lord have mercy. Mage is my dude. Yeah. And Pat, I just talked to Pat a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. I'll say this. Mage was before his time.
Yeah, he's before his time.
Mage was before his time and really evolved the game at the quarterback position.
Did, though, because back then, NFL ain't want dudes. They ain't want dudes like that.
And Mage basically should have won the Heisman, probably should have stayed at West Virginia another year, but he came out. League didn't work out so well for him. But to this day, he's probably still one of the best athletes that I've ever seen. But I think from a quarterback perspective, I might give Pat the edge, but I still think Mage was the best athlete.
Yeah, best athlete
to ever go to West Virginia and play football.
And when I was there, who they had? Rasheed Marshall.
Ooh, Rasheed was nice
too. See, that's it. No, that's the real shit. That's the thing about Hogerson and Brown, I ain't like Brown out. Brown, it ain't no personality.
He was disconnected, man.
He was disconnected, but no, they ain't recruit the Western PA Pittsburgh kids.
No.
You know, Neyland did, though.
Bro,
Coach Rod did, too, though.
They all hit the WVU and the Western PA
stuff, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Heavy.
Yeah.
So when Brown was down there, you know, I had some athletes because I was coaching at UPrep at the time, you know, and had a connection to that program. And we had some kids in the city, and we're like, yo, come up and recruit some of these kids.
I remember Will Clark from Order.
Yeah,
he went to Davie.
So we was trying to establish that connection with them, but we didn't really have no pipeline. And I'm like, that don't make sense.
That's the number one. You got to have a pipeline with Western PA, though.
That don't make sense.
All the top dudes from Western PA should be going to. Either go to Penn State or WVU.
And legacy kids.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got all these dudes from Pittsburgh that went down to WVU, and we got kids, and y'all ain't recruiting them.
Yeah.
And we telling you, like, you know what kind of lineage they come from. You know the bloodline.
That's how
you know what I'm saying?
Shit crazier in hoops because in basketball, I'm probably the only dude from Pittsburgh in recent years that played there.
Yeah. That I could think of.
Yeah, I can't really think of it.
And the impact you had as a freshman down there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But you know, everything changed. No, everything changed with the NIL transfer. What you think about that, though? The whole NIL thing.
Get that money, young men. But you know, and I think people get it mixed up too, though. You got to remember, there's the NIL and then there's the collective.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And I think people don't really understand that. So when they see this, the NIL and all this stuff. Listen, I ain't gonna lie. If they had the NIL when I was coming out, brother, I'm telling you. I mean, so I'm loving that part of it. And I think it's only right because a lot of them SEC schools back in the day, they was already doing NIL.
That's why Nick Saban retired, though. But they was already doing that before, dude. So that's why they was winning all the time.
Level the playing field. You know what I mean?
He didn't want that shit. But I don't like the transfer portal's cool, but the unlimited transfer thing is
that's a little wild.
That's a little wild, though.
What do you think about that? The JUCO year is not counting either.
Yeah, that's just wild though, because you're gonna have dudes 28 years old. And to me, I ain't gonna hate. It benefits us. When we played, we was slaves.
Right.
Now it benefits the athlete though. But my whole thing now is you don't gotta press the NFL, NBA now. You can be in college making millions.
Oh, no doubt, and you got to remember too. There's a lot of athletes that have NFL and NBA talent that never make it to that level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason. It could be off the field stuff. It could be grades. It could be, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, their social situations. So for them to be able to make some money on their talent alone, I'm all for that.
Yeah. But the only thing about with the college is you can't have that. I feel like that. Just like when you came to W, you was there. You was at W what 4 years?
I was there for 5. I did red shirt.
No, that's what I mean. But you don't got that no more.
No. Yeah,
I mean, just like me, like when I came up, you had dudes there 4 or 5 years. Right. You don't have that bonding with the family. I feel like that tradition is gone. I feel like you got a new dude every year, so it kind of like it's different now.
But that's the same thing with the coaches too, though.
Yeah, coaches do the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Coaches come in and out and be gone. Like I ain't gonna lie, if it wasn't for Coach Neyland being there, a staple in the program, I probably wouldn't have been there because there was a freshman. I was wild as hell.
Yeah.
I was a wild dude coming from Pittsburgh, going down to Morgantown. I got kicked out of the Towers my first year. Yeah. We was knuckleheads. Yeah. I'll never forget. Coach Neyland called me to his office and he sat me in there and he was like, "Listen, you got enough talent to be a starter as a freshman, playing on Saturdays for WVU in front of 65,000 fans." He said, "You got enough talent to be playing on Sundays in front of bigger crowds, making millions of dollars if you get yourself together." Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And he showed that level of commitment to me, and it made me in turn want to show that commitment to him. I knew he wasn't going nowhere, so I was like, I'm not going to go nowhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? And in my first year, when I went down there, I got recruited as a tailback.
Yeah, I know. At McKeesport, yeah.
I was a tailback. I never played cornerback a day in my life in high school until the Big 33 game, and Ty Law showed me how to play cornerback in like 4 or 5 days up at the Big 33. And I started my first game at corner. So
that's how athlete you are, though.
But and that's how crazy. Listen, I'm a humble dude. Yeah. But there be some dudes having these conversations, man, and they be talking about who's the.
I be humble. I be humble too with them. People's like, I be like,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't want to talk my shit all the time, but when they talk WVU basketball, so I feel like shit, they had just had the last 25 years the best score. I feel like shit, I'm definitely the best scorer at WVU though.
And you wasn't mentioned?
No, people because my situation getting kicked out.
Right.
But they did have me the top scorer in the last 25 years because I'm the last dude to average 20 points though.
Right.
But I did. I'm a humble dude. I really don't talk that. But at the end of the day, I do feel like. Man, I feel like I don't know. I always felt like no one could stop me in basketball though.
And that's
and I was hungry because Pittsburgh wasn't known for basketball though. So I'm on the scene like I gotta put Pittsburgh on the map though.
No doubt. And you did. Yeah. You did. Regardless of your path traveled, man. I mean, what you did was unbelievable. You put up unbelievable numbers as freshmen.
The years go on, you lose. People lose who you are. They'll lose like how you are. The years go on, like people like damn, they forget who you are. You got sometimes.
But what I'm saying, as far as like even WVU, you need the youngins to know that.
Yeah, the youngins to know that though.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You gotta remind them. You gotta not even remind them. You gotta let them know because they don't know who we were.
Yeah, they don't know.
But when we come in, you're supposed to be like, look, that's that dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was that dude here, and he did this and this and that, and I ain't gonna do nothing but help your program.
We're gonna help your program now.
You know what I'm saying? So, hopefully,
especially when you got dudes who can connect with the. We still can connect with the younger generation. Now.
And we can connect with both sides of the coin.
Yeah, both sides.
You know what I'm saying? We in the inner city. We go to the outskirts of the city. We can relate to all them because we know their language. We know how to dialogue with these young kids. Now, I will say with all this social media and internet and all those things, they are a little disconnected, but it's up to us to really maintain them and keep them in that realm of reality and let them know like this is what could happen or this is what could happen. You could make it or miss it from the league just by a moment.
No, but it's harder now with the kids because they're on a plateau at 13, 14.
Right.
So it's hard to tell in college. We had to grind to make that money. Them dudes coming in already with a name already though.
Yeah, but listen, when you 13 and 14, man, you have a few athletes that's probably elite, and everybody's like my kid's the best, and you know what I mean. And then you get to college and you're up there with other people because I say this: when you get to that level, everybody's gonna work hard. Yeah. There ain't really no outworking somebody else when you get to that level because everybody's working. Yeah. But what is it about you that's gonna separate you from the rest of the pack? You know what I'm saying? So for me, I was like, listen, I know I can get up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and get to the gym. Guess what? There's gonna be about 8 to 10 people there. Whereas in high school, if you did that, there might not be nobody else there. You get to college, there's going to be. So I started working on what my deficiencies was. I knew I had deficiencies, especially transferring, going from changing positions. I went from a completely offensive-minded player, and the only reason I really accepted that because they let me return kickoffs and punts.
I remember. I remember that kickoff against Miami.
Oh, yeah. Freshman year, man. I was a redshirt freshman. I'll never forget that, man. And somebody actually sent me that clip the other day, and because Rohan Marley was talking heavy.
Yeah.
He was talking so much shit on us, man. Heavy in pregame and all this stuff. Like, West Virginia, they can't hang with us, man. They came into our house. Freshman, I'm back there opening kickoff, like 50-yard return, man, and we ended up beating them. So those memories that stick in my mind will be forever, man.
That's how. No, but back with the Coach Ross stuff.
Okay.
I know Anthony Beck did want the coach. Who did you? I mean, that's your guy right there.
Yo, no doubt.
So did you have someone you wanted to be the coach there?
Jaywan Sider, man. Jaywan Sider. He's Penn State.
Running back coach.
He's a running back coach at Penn State. I wouldn't have mind him or Terry Smith.
Yeah.
Because I know how them dudes recruit.
They can recruit, yeah.
I know how they care about their athletes. Yeah. I know that they would involve the alumni. Now, everybody talked about the experience that Jaywan has. He's been an assistant head coach. But how do you get that experience?
I don't buy that sometimes because look at Oregon. All them dudes like Oregon coach, they always assistants before they. So my other thing, like I don't like getting racial and stuff like that, but I always thought I don't think WVU is ready for black coach.
I didn't think they would hire him, especially where we were at right now.
Yeah.
I was surprised that they did go back to Rich Rondo, just because
I heard the AD. I heard they ain't want him now, but it was Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee's that dude on here.
No doubt.
So he was pressuring him, the coach.
Pat.
Yeah, to get Coach Ross. So I feel like, not just heard the AD ain't want him, though. That's what I heard. Because what he did to WVU before, though. Dipping on him and like that, though.
So, and I think there's still some people in West Virginia bitter taste. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he's going to have to come in and win.
Yeah, you win, but
winning solves all that.
You can win right away now.
Winning solves all that. You know what I mean? But he's got to have a hell of a recruiting class. He has to, get people really vested in West Virginia football right now. And you know, being in the Big 12 kind of takes a lot of people out of it just because they're, you know, you don't have them rivalries that you used to have.
Yeah, you don't have them rivalries, and you don't play in this. You know, in the Big East, you had the Pitt, Syracuse, BC, all that stuff. VTech.
Man, I mean,
we don't even got it. Pharrell don't even look at VTech as a rival no more.
I don't either, and that's a shame, you know, because for a while I didn't even look at Pitt as a rival no more because they wasn't playing them. But I would like to see them get the Penn State game back.
VTech.
You know, VTech. We had Boston College, Syracuse. I mean, we had so many.
I mean, no, now I just look at now. There's just I guess I'm old school though. I don't like all the transfer. I don't like all that though.
I don't like that either. You know,
got a new team every year though.
I mean, you talked about this before. You talked about the relationships and friendships that you establish in college. Those are some of my most everlasting friendships. You know, in the league, you could be on one team one year and be on another team another year. So in college, I'm with a core group of guys that I met, and we went through, you know, teenagehood to adulthood to young adult, you know what I mean, young adulthood into manhood, and those bonds have stuck with me forever. When you in college and you transferring, I know kids that transferred every year.
That's what I'm saying. You don't got that bond now.
You don't have nothing.
Who was the runner? Was Adrian Morrell there with you?
Adrian Morrell was the starting running back when I got there.
Amos was after you though.
Amos, he was a freshman when I was a senior. And Amos came in getting it.
They don't got them running backs no more. Back in the day, then when I came up, we had Avon, Quincy Wilson, Steve Slate.
Was Noel Devine? And I heard he's back.
He's back. In
some capacity, right? Offensive analyst or something.
So it's cool bringing them guys back though.
That's cool. And I think those will be the guys that really start to connect some of the older guys that have been, quote, forgotten about back to the program.
You need a guy like Pac-Man, obviously.
Yeah, no doubt. Pac is, hey, listen.
People don't, that's my man right there, man.
Pac is that dude, man.
That dude, though.
Pac told me, man, he came in for the Pitt game one year. Well, you remember we all hung out. He said, Logan, you being a little too nice, man. You got to ask in a way. You don't even got to ask. You got to tell him what you want, man.
No, Pac-Man's that, but you know Pac-Man was nice in basketball, though.
No, I didn't.
You ain't know that?
No.
See, a lot of people, I swear on everything, Pac-Man was probably the second best basketball player at WVU.
Wow.
No, I'm being dead serious though. Besides me, obviously, he was probably the second, third best. He was. That's why I knew he was good. He was an athlete though.
So I mean, why didn't try to do the dual sport?
Fucking Coach Rod wanted me to play football though. Because remember my brother got drafted.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And I'm from Penn Hill, so Western PA is a football. So he wanted me to come out and play football my sophomore year.
Before I get back to the dual sport thing, I got to tell you a funny story about your family though, man. So your brother was playing for, I think he was playing for Tennessee.
Tennessee and Jackson on the rivalry, yeah.
So right?
Yeah.
So after the game, I went up and I said something because they told me y'all was from Pittsburgh. I knew the name and everything, and I came up, and your family had on some Tennessee gear, right? Yeah. And I think this was your pop. I was like, man, y'all from Pittsburgh, y'all got the wrong gear on. He looked at me dead in my face and no, the fuck we don't. I was like, oh, snap. I was like, I don't want no pops. I don't want no smoke, man.
No, it's funny because, back then with social media, you knew it's easier. Like back then, you don't really know you don't know the people like that from Pittsburgh though. You heard them in the paper though, but
you see the names and you're like, familiar. You love it, man. But back to the dual sports stuff. I was a better baseball player than I was football.
So you played McKeesport baseball?
I went over there, broke my shoulder my first year, right? So I was going to play baseball. I ended up breaking my shoulder playing basketball down at the Boys and Girls Club. And after that, Coach Nealon told me, he is like, you're not a baseball player. You're a football player. Yeah. He is like, and you could play as a freshman. He was like, but you got to be dedicated to football. And I wanted to play baseball so bad. Yeah.
So I ain't never really played baseball.
It was just natural. Yeah. And Jim Leland, who was the manager of the Pirates,
at the time,
actually gave me a tryout just on the strength of my dad, because my dad was a cameraman for KDKA. So I used to go down and do commercials with.
What position?
Who?
What position you play?
Oh, I played center field.
Oh, center field, yeah.
Played center field. Played a little bit of first base, but I was better in the outfield. Had a tryout and didn't.
Man, he getting struck out every time.
No, it was bad. Man, I was wrestling with my roommates down there. We used to have these battle royals down in Towers, Braxton Towers, man, and messed up my thumb the day before the tryout. So I went up there, and my dad was like, "Man, I got you this tryout, and you ain't gonna try out, man." I went up there and just talked to him. I was like, "I want to come back and do it." He was like, "You ain't serious." So I never got to see my baseball dreams come to fruition.
Braxton broke Towers, man. Remember Towers? Whew. They still got Towers?
I mean,
See, we grew up in college when it was really like
it was real.
It was real when we grew up.
It was real.
It was real when we came up. I feel like WVU is not like that. I go down there. It's different now.
Man, you see their locker room? You see the football locker room?
It's crazy. I know the basketball one's even that joint's crazy,
bro. I went in there and said, and it's true. Their locker room is better than the Steelers' locker room.
Yeah, no, I believe that though.
And Beanie Bishop, who plays for the Steelers right now, he goes back to WVU to use their facilities to get rehab and do all this stuff. And then
it's like that with the basketball one's crazy though.
Man,
we came back in there. We came up in the slums.
And listen, I ain't never even been into the basketball locker room. How about that?
You ain't never been there? Did you know Huggins?
I knew Hugs.
Hugs one of them dudes. He's a WVU. Since you did your thing, he just show you love.
Listen, and my Hall of Fame bus was over at the Coliseum at one point, and I still, I didn't feel welcomed into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We should be. I know programs that their Hall of Fame, they got a gold jacket with a placard where they can come in and see it's just.
What year you go to the Hall of Fame again?
2014.
You went in 14.
And it. Craziest story about getting inducted to the Hall of Fame.
What was the story?
Man, I'm sitting at the crib, just bull crapping, you know what I'm saying? Phone rings. Mike Logue, it's Oliver Luck. How you doing? I'm thinking he's calling me to offer me a media job because I was doing color commentary at the time, right? So he's talking to me. He's like, I just wanted to let you know that. And I'm thinking like, I'm the color commentary for Root Sports at the time where they was doing. He was like, you got inducted to the West Virginia Hall of Fame, and I'm like, it didn't even hit me for a minute. So I'm sitting there, he's talking, I'm like, well, damn, did I get the job? You know what I mean? Yeah. It wasn't even registering yet that it hit me, man. And once it did, though, I was like, damn, HOF on any level.
Yeah, and that's any level is like
is amazing. And for the road and path that my career took down at West Virginia, I mean, I broke my arm 3 times.
Yeah, I know.
And went through so much adversity, I didn't know if I'd ever get that call. Yeah. And when I did, man, it just, everything that I ever did, it was just brought to fruition by that phone call.
You still be talking to Nealon?
Man, we all try to reach out to Coach. He's old now. He's going through some, dementia stages and things like that. I went down to his wife's funeral when he had it, and then I went down. His son is still the equipment manager at the football.
Oh, he's still there. How old is his son?
Dan, I don't know. Dan's got to be up there now, but Dan finally gave me some WVU gear. So shout out to Dan Nealon. He finally gave me some gear.
They be stingy with the gear, man.
Stingy with the gear. I had 2 team shirts that I had from 1992. But Dan hooked me up, man. So shout out to Dan.
Only time they gave me gear when they was recruiting my nephew.
Oh yeah, you got hella gear there.
Hella gear. They was stingy with
shout out to Dan.
The royalty though, but no, I don't know. I never met Nealon. I know when I first came there, he was gone. Though.
Oh, great dude.
Rod came my first year though.
Great
Coach,
dude.
No, Coach Rod, good dude. I'm happy they got Coach Rod.
I can't wait to really
because he's a West Virginia dude though.
Yeah,
I feel like with WV, you got to be that West Virginia guy though.
Yeah,
because other coaches gonna come in and use it as a stepping stone.
Right.
That's how I look at it though.
But see, all these coaches that come from West Virginia or was involved with the program, in the early stages, they're vested in it.
Yeah, they're vested in it.
You know what I'm saying? It's a part of them.
Yeah.
And I will say, I think Brown tried to grasp that, but you can't really grasp it. You got to just feel it. You got to know it. Like Hugs. You talked about Huggins. You know what I mean? And how you feel about Huggins when he got, his situation.
It was messed up, but I mean, they had to do something though.
Yeah.
You got in a situation like that, you have no choice but to
right.
Yeah, no, that was some wild story though. But no, Hugs my God. I don't know the coach right now. I don't really know him like that. Then Coach B like, I mean, I can tell a whole story about
I know you can about that.
No, people always ask me like,
yo,
why you still fuck with WVU? Like what they did to. I don't got no problem with WVU though.
Right.
I just had a problem with Coach B line and the AD was Passalong. You don't know Passalong.
Yeah, I know Passalong.
You know
he was
Passalong?
there. Yeah.
He was there with you.
Yeah,
the drunk.
Yeah, I know Passalong.
Dang, how long was there for?
I don't know, but he was there when I was there.
Who was there? Was Hardesty there?
I don't think so. I don't know.
I ain't even know Passalong.
Yeah, Passalong was there.
Yeah, here's my AD. I ain't like none of them.
Oh
dudes,
yeah, man. Passalong was there when I was there.
Back in the day, you saw a lot of. You can get like coaches can fuck players up.
Oh, no doubt.
I feel like you can't do that nowadays.
See, and that's what I'm saying. They have, and that's why I don't have a real issue with what they got right now.
I don't have a problem with it either, though.
But you know what I mean? It waters down some of the your history, and it just waters down a little bit of the program because you can do those things. But I like the athletes having the freedom because, like you said, coaches can control that. Some of the ADs can control your future. Now it puts some of it in the players' hands.
The athlete control their own life, though. You know, back in the day, you transfer, they can block a transfer, though.
Right.
You say you want to transfer to damn Purdue.
Right.
We don't want you transferring to Purdue. Then you lose a year, and you got to sit out a year, though.
That's what I'm saying. I like the freedom, but I just think they have to, you know, kids. If you have a bad freshman year at a place, you know what I mean? You got to give it a chance.
You got to work.
Fight through some adversity.
It do stop you from working hard, though.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches say that, though.
You got to fight through some of that adversity, because some of that adversity is what made me a dog.
It do make you a dog, though, especially in football, though.
You know, listen, my freshman year, I went down there, and this is how I became a true cornerback. I walked into the running back room. They was like, "Didn't you play corner in the Big 33?" I was like, "Yeah." They was like, "Man, you had a good game. Why don't you come over to corner?" I was like, "Man, I'm a running back."
Yeah.
And I told the coach, I was like, "I'm a running back." Man, I walked in that running back room and sat in the front seat. They was like, "Get your ass up." I was like, "What?" It was like, "Freshmen sit in the back." So I was like, all right. So I went and sat in the next seat. They was like, "Get up, man.
Yeah.
Go to the back. Go to the 7th seat."
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the 7th row. I'm like, they said, "Man, we sit by who's the starter, you know, the backup, third." So they was like, "Since Mr. Logan don't know any of y'all, introduce yourself to him." First seat, Adrian Morrell, Mr. Hawaii.
Yeah.
You know, second seat, John Jones from Mr. West Virginia.
Yeah.
Third seat, Jimmy Gary, Okeechobee, Florida, Parade All-American. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is how it go. And then I'm thinking, Mike Logan, second team All-State. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking I'm going to put in work, but, you know.
Back then was, I told, when you played back then was real, though.
Oh, no doubt.
Nowadays, it's more, it's a business now, though.
Oh, it is.
Because if you ain't playing, you transferring, though.
And that's what it is.
And dudes is promising you money.
Hey, listen.
So I ain't mad. I'm not hating on the whole thing. I wish we got money, though, but it is what it is, though.
I wish we, bro, I'm telling you.
Boys are getting that.
Boys is getting more money than I got in my NFL contract.
The West Virginia, the receiver, I don't know, you know, the dude that just left transfer. I think he's going to Illinois.
Okay.
I forgot his name. He's from I forgot where he's from. Their best receiver.
Okay.
He asked WV. He wanted 800,000. Come on, 800,000, man. Come on. So they said, no, we can give you. We can give you 600.
Let's be real, though.
Come on, 800.
If we got that money in college, what would we have been doing?
Come on, boys would have been tricking on it.
Come on, man.
No, but we got that Pell Grant. We went crazy. I got that Pell Grant. I thought I was bro. Come on, that Pell Grant.
Down on High Street.
Oh, come on, man.
Going into the stores, buying all the polos, going down to. What was the clubs when y'all was there?
See, it was Elements. It was Elements wasn't there with you, was it?
It was. I went back to Elements.
Element had. Remember Bent Willie's?
Yeah.
They had that when you was there.
No, I wasn't there, but I went down and partied a couple
Brass
times.
Alley.
Oh man, we had.
No, see, people on WVU was the #1 party school.
Yeah.
No, at the time it really went down.
It was #1 when I was there a couple years too.
It went down there. Nowadays with social, it's different now.
Yeah, I haven't been down there to party in a long time.
Yeah, a lot of people just be on social media all day.
Well,
so instead, that's
in every facet.
Back then to meet girls, meet chicks.
Yeah,
if you ain't go out, you ain't see no chicks.
Listen, I'm grateful they ain't have damn smartphones when I was.
That should have been
pictures and all that. Come on, man, I would have.
Especially my personality with social media, bro.
Listen,
come on,
man, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be sitting here right now because
I tell all these young, they got it made nowadays.
They do.
They got it made with the money, with the sports, with
the reach,
everything now.
You know what I mean? You could talk to somebody at a different university and be visiting them. You know what I mean? Like we ain't had that.
Just no. Especially on the plant, you had to be that dude to get known. Listen. You wasn't that dude. People ain't know you though.
But you can make yourself that dude on social media.
No, that's what about the offer. It'd be dudes would say they got 15 offers. The day they signing that. No disrespect to the PSAC. Dude talking, he got Ohio State Pitt. They signing that Slippery Rock or something or IUP.
I had to tell these young dudes, I ain't have all these offers coming out. You know what I mean?
Who all offers you coming out?
Well, Pitt didn't. I'm gonna say that first. Pitt didn't offer me
Johnny
a full
Majors
rap.
the coach at the time?
He was Johnny Majors.
Yeah.
It was Paul Hackett at
Paul
first.
Hackett, then Majors.
Then Majors. Yeah, he came back for that Back to the Future thing or whatever. But I was hurt. I was hurt by that. And I ain't gonna lie, West Virginia was on my radar, but that became my top school after I heard Pitt didn't offer me the full scholarship. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to West Virginia and I'm gonna beat their ass for 4 years. And
did you ever go down WVU before there?
Yeah, I went down a couple times.
I didn't even know where that shit.
I went down to see. I knew Major Harris played there, but there was 3 dudes from my high school that went there. Big L, Darnell Warren, Tim Brown, and Johnny Harper
Okay.
All had went to West Virginia
See,
prior.
now,
to
you, don't
that.
even, you look on the roster now, you don't see no Pittsburgh dudes.
Nah,
At all.
It's when I was coaching at UPrep, I was trying to get Kenny Robinson down there, and I had to basically.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I forgot about Kenny. Kenny did. I forgot Kenny did go there.
Kenny went there, but you know, and he went through his stuff. But it was like I had to be like, yo, I got a dude up here that can play. He's on that level. You know what I mean? Y'all gonna recruit him, and it was kind of like, you know, it took some tooth and nails to get him down there.
I feel like the coach. No, I feel like Rod bringing the coach back though.
Well, let's bring it back.
It's all, but the whole thing is all about. See, he got the resources now. All the people with the money gonna give him the money, get the recruits.
That's what I heard too.
So you got the but that's just crazy thinking about it. You got to spend money to win in college. That's to me. That sounds wild to me personally, though.
I don't know, man.
Just like Ohio State spent all that money, though.
Listen, I wish they'd have gave me some of that money because these parlays ain't been hitting for me. these parlays ain't been hitting for me. So they ain't been hitting for me.
Think about who you like today in the football game.
Man, you know, at first I was a little,
Baltimore. What is it? You like Steelers getting the points 9.5?
Yeah, I definitely like the points.
Yeah.
But I'm not betting on this. I'm just laying back. But you know, I originally I wanted them to play Houston. I just felt comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And my daughter's in Houston, so I had my plane ticket ready. I was gonna go down there and kick it with her. But I mean, they're familiar with Baltimore. They got some history with Baltimore. I think they can compete with Baltimore, especially given 9. I would definitely take that 9.5. I think it was, but I don't know if they're going. I don't know, man. It's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a tight game. If the offense don't turn over the ball, they got a chance.
I feel like they do got to get the lead though. If Baltimore come out hot, I think it could be over with though.
Oh, it's definitely going to be over with. Yeah. I mean, if Baltimore's connecting, I mean, the good thing is it's not a good thing for Baltimore, but Zay Flowers is out. Though, Pro Bowl receiver's out, so the secondary's been beat up a little bit. They finally getting back together, so that could be a positive for them, man.
Who you got in the Super Bowl? You got Kansas City in the Super Bowl?
I don't.
Who you got? Buffalo?
I got Buffalo.
You got Buffalo?
I got Buffalo.
I'm a Buffalo guy. I got Buffalo and Philly.
I got Buffalo and Detroit.
Detroit, nice. I like Detroit.
You know what I mean? And I think
defense is suspect.
but you know, if Hutchinson wouldn't have got hurt, I think that they would definitely be that. But I still like their offensive power, man. Yeah. You know, Montgomery should be back for the playoff run.
Gibbs is nice though.
Gibbs is nice. Yeah. I like Goff's decision making. St. Brown. I mean, so they got some weapons, and I would love to see that matchup. I mean, KC is KC. I'm a little tired of them right now. You know, I don't. It's giving me them Brady vibes, man. You know, I hate Brady. And let's talk about you in the Patriots, man. You know what I mean?
He was with the Steelers when they was busting your ass out.
Listen, man.
What years was you with the Steelers for?
01 through 06.
So you was there when Tom Brady just came on.
Yeah, man. I don't want to talk about that though. I ain't here to talk about that. I ain't here to talk about touchdown Tom and all that stuff, man.
How was Tom Brady though? Was he? You went against quarterback. How about Peyton Manning and Tom Brady? No, I ask because as a secondary member, you got to be connected.
I'll say this though. Peyton Manning was one of the smartest QBs I've ever played against. I mean, he would, you know. I think I got a pick against him. I think after the game, he came up and asked me, "What coverage was you in?" I'm like, "Dude, what are you talking?" You know what I mean? But Brady, you know, I got a picture. There's a picture of me, and it's like I'm out of focus, but you can see right through me, and you see Tom Brady, and he's pointing at where the blitz is coming from. And I'm like, how do you even know that? We ain't even getting our stance yet. I'm back there disguising. He's already pointing. He ain't even worried about me.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So I'm like, how does he know that? Now, was it Spygate or was it him? You know what I mean?
People always say Spygate.
You're making me mad, though. Because, bro, for real, I'm glad you ain't got no Patriot stuff on right now because it would have probably been on in the studio, bro.
You was there with Troy Polamalu. Yeah, what you think about Avery and Troy Polamalu? I know Troy Polamalu's your guy, though.
That's my dude.
That's your dude, though.
That dude shouted me out in his Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's my dude. I have much respect to Ed. Both of those guys are amazing players. But I've seen Troy do some stuff that was just astronomical.
Yeah.
You know, so being on the field with him, of course, I'm going to lean that way. But, like, I'm seeing Troy at the line of scrimmage. We in too deep coverage. They get ready. The quarterback is in his cadence. Now, he's supposed to be on this side of the field. Yeah. And I'm like, there's no way in hell he's going to make it back there. So I start cheating over, doing his job and trying to do my job. Really, when I'm out of position and this dude is still going to make it back there, and I'm like, how the hell would he do that?
I feel like Minka think he's Minka. I don't got no problem with Minka Fitzpatrick.
I think he's a consistent player.
You think he's on that level though?
I think he has the talent to do that. Yeah. You know, people keep talking about Minka this year and saying that he may not have had a Pro Bowl caliber year. But as a safety, if you're doing your job,
you're doing your job. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you're doing what you're supposed to do, they're not being able to complete them passes on the side, the 7 routes and all those things, and nobody's getting behind you deep, you're doing your job. So you can have a consistent year and be great. I'm sure he's grading out every game above 90%.
Yeah, see, they're looking at the interception.
He's usually
he's usually a playmaker.
You know what
with
I mean?
interceptions.
So people might game plan against that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, he's a solid player. He's a solid player. I mean, textbook technique. I think he's amazing in that regard. He just, he hasn't had the numbers as far as his interceptions this year.
So you got what year you get drafted with Jacksonville?
97.
You in 97? Yeah, he was there with my brother Byron Leftwich.
Oh yeah,
that's my brother-in-law. So
I think he's going to be up for a head coaching job. I think he deserves it.
They did him dirty in Tampa Bay, though.
Yeah, I believe that too. So
I do feel like I'm at like I said, I do feel like black coaches do get the raw end of the deal sometimes.
No doubt, and especially those with talent and up and coming. Just even this year, you got Mayo and Antonio Pierce who both got fired after one season.
Year,
You ain't even give them a chance. You know what I mean? So now that's on their record as got fired after 1 year because they ain't turned the program around or turned the franchise around. Give them some time, man. And they're young dudes. You know what I mean? They're young dudes, but that's how you get your feet wet.
Yeah, that's how. No, he won a Super Bowl with Tampa. And it was like he can't get no job.
I didn't understand that. Him and Eric Bieniemy. I didn't understand that. And then everybody's like, oh, well, Bieniemy got let go by UCLA. He went to college. You know what I mean? He had I ain't gonna lie, I thought Pittsburgh should have brought him in.
I agree with that, but people always say he won because of Mahomes or
Belichick won because of Brady.
Andy Reid won because of Mahomes. So people always say, I feel like if you don't got a quarterback, you ain't gonna win. The NFL's a quarterback-driven league, though. That's why the Steelers. That's why I think they're having their problems, though.
Definitely.
So they get a quarterback, though.
Definitely, they definitely got to get a franchise quarterback, and I think they dropped the ball when they drafted Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I think that was a mistake. Getting
what I mean?
Too early like that. In the first
round. I think they shot their load on the guy, and it didn't work out for him. But again, he didn't really have a chance. I think they was just like, nah, we seen enough, and we getting you out of here.
No, they ain't want. He was a pick guy. That's why they got him anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he was
if he wasn't
right there.
First round pick.
Yeah,
he was no first round talent though.
Yeah, and then, I mean, it didn't work out, but I think that put us in a hole, man.
What about when you play? I always ask who's the best receiver you played against?
Well, I went up against Jerry Rice in my first game, so I won't even put him in that.
He wasn't the truth? Was he the truth at that time?
Yeah, he was still with San Fran, so he was still putting up numbers. But I'll give you a guy that maybe not get a lot of credit. His name was Eric Moulds. He played for Buffalo.
Buffalo, yeah, Eric Moulds. Eric Moulds.
That dude was strong. Yeah. Like, I used to come up because I played corner, so I was a bump and run corner. So when I played in the slot, I would come up and try to put my hands on him. And I remember this dude slapping his hands off me, man, like, get off me, youngin', and was running routes. And he was deceptionally fast, man, but he was a crisp route runner, had good hands. He gave me fits. And then Marvin Harrison.
Marvin
Harrison, he tore me up in college too, man.
Syracuse was nice.
Him and Donovan McNabb.
Donovan McNabb was there.
I gave up the longest touchdown in the Carrier Dome. It was at the time.
99 yards.
It was like 97 yards or something like that, man. I'll never forget. Nope. It was man coverage, and I told the coach, "This is what I want." He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna give it to you."
You bet, or he just beat you just deep.
Man, he ran a route where I think he used the same leg to cut. And I don't even know how he did it. He must not have no ACLs or MCLs, but embarrassed the hell out of me, man. And
Marvin Harrison was nice. His son nice.
He was nice. One of the nicest route runners.
That's what I mean, route runner.
Oh,
that's what people talk about. Pickens is a talent, but route runner, I don't know about his route running.
Yeah, he just got great hands. I don't know what happened last week, but he got great hands. I wish that somebody could mentor him and get the realms on him because he's an exceptional talent.
Yeah, he need a veteran. He need a dude like Hines Ward was. Yeah, he just need a veteran type dude though.
Yeah, but I don't know. These athletes is different, man. They don't listen to the.
They ain't listening. They don't
listen to the old heads now.
No, I can't. If I talk to a young dude, they ain't listening to me, man.
No.
The only people they gonna listen to is somebody in the NBA.
It's wild, man.
It's wild how they are. I think social media made them like that, though.
It does, and they just feel like they got it all. You know what I mean? They could pick up their phone and talk to Siri and say, how can I do this, or Chat GPT, and think that's going to teach them how to backpedal, and you know what I mean? And I'm like, I can give you the intro. I know how you got to turn your hips and make sure that you can, sit in the receiver's pocket when they're going to break and do all these things. They don't want to listen to that, man.
That's why a lot of college coaches hate it because you got to recruit your own players, though.
Yeah.
How you a coach and you got to recruit your players again now?
Hey, I mean,
that's wild.
This is wild times.
Real wild times.
That's why I'm not coaching now, though. You know what I mean? There's select few athletes that
I don't like high school coaching anyway, though.
High school coaching is difficult, but my thing was I wanted to get in high school coaching because I wanted to talk to the young man.
No, we looked at it as I was a mentor.
You know
I looked at people. I say I'm not a coach. I'm a mentor.
Right, and that's the only reason I coached. I started at youth prep because I was mentoring kids down at the playground. And they went and told the principal.
Yeah.
And the principal was like, man, I want you to have that in the school. It was Derek Hardy at the time. And I went and got my teaching certificate, and he was like, man, you can come up here and do life skills education. And then Lou Berry, the football coach, was like, man, I need you to help, you be an assistant on the football team. So I volunteered to coach, but I was mentoring.
Yeah.
My thing was I'm helping you get a mentality to be able to deal with society. Football is just a plus.
That's what. No, see, he played. That's how I looked at it when I was Still Valley, though.
Right.
School boards don't see it that way, though.
Nah.
I'm a mentor. I'm trying to help these dudes in life because most of these dudes ain't getting a scholarship anyway.
Right.
Definitely ain't going professional.
Right.
So I'm trying to get them ready in life, though. But they don't. That's why I don't mess with. They look at it different, though.
All their parents think they got a scholarship kid.
That's how, and it'd be a problem. That's what I hate about the parents, though.
I mean, and I'm like, listen, he probably could be a scholarship kid, but there's this. He has to do this. He has to do this. He has to do that. I can't get him into school if he got a 1.2. He's not getting a scholarship. You know what I mean? Like, those are some of the things we got to work on. You know what I mean? And but they feel like they got all the answers. Like we ain't our experience.
I kept it 100 with it. Like, if a kid ain't a D2, D3, I keep it 100 though. I don't bullshit. So people don't like when you're honest though.
No, they don't want to hear the
schools had a
truth.
problem. Still Valley got no buses.
Right.
So if you all the way down on the 9th Street, you got to walk up to the school. So in the wintertime, I'm driving my players to practice. They getting mad at me talking about I can't do that and all that.
That's crazy too. You know what I mean? But you got to watch all that stuff. Now it was hard for me to coach and do that because I was always a part of all the youth programs, the athletic programs around the city, like Future Stars Track Club and doing Robert Fitzpatrick youth camp in Homewood. And man, half the time I remember I got in trouble. My wife was at home cooking.
Yeah.
And a bunch of my athletes was like, man, I don't got nothing to eat. And I went and took them to Applebee's.
Yeah.
My wife called. She was like, where you at? I'm like, oh, I'm at Applebee's with the kids. She was like, you at what? I'm like, I'll be home in a minute. She was like, man, I just cooked. My plate was in the garbage.
They still be having youth places stuff? They don't got that no more, do they?
Well, they have a
it's different nowadays.
Yeah, they got a program that they do down there in a lot of the youth places. Mentors and role models are doing that. So there's an organization that I did outreach work for called Reach up in the Hill District, who does some of the stuff with youth places and helps kids out. So still involved in that way where I can still have it.
I asked that because now the kids don't want to. Man, I don't want to talk about the young. They just don't want to listen to nothing.
They don't, man. But I think it's our job and responsibility as educators and role models of these communities to keep trying.
Yeah, if you can reach one kid, that's the whole goal anyway.
And there's a bunch of dudes that I worked with during that outreach who are still trying right now. And somebody's going to hear something one day. You know what I mean? And I think there's been numerous kids that we've been able to touch, even if it's just for that moment. If we can help them survive for one more summer, you know what I mean? To remember one more thing that somebody did for them. When they get to be successful, I think that'll transform, you know what I mean? And we'll be able to pass that down the line. So that's my hope when I do it, you know what I mean? And that's why I don't mess with a lot of people. I know what I'm doing my outreach for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing it for money. I'm not doing it for clout. I'm not doing it for fame. A lot of my stuff I do behind the raps because,
That's the problem with coaches nowadays. Most of them, I'm hybrid. They do it for social media though.
Yeah.
They put the headsets on. They want boys to know they coach though.
I don't like all this social media stuff and banter about going on about what you do for this program and I did this and it's like some of these coaches want Little League accolades, like you know what I mean. You went to Little League Coach of the Year, City League Coach of the Year. You know what I mean?
It's just.
I mean, seriously, there's a lot of that going on, and I don't never say nothing. You know what I mean?
I don't hate on, but a lot of dudes need they want clout for that though.
Yeah, I just sit back and watch
They even be bet. They even be betting on Little League.
Oh, that's wild.
That's wild to me though, but. I'll never do nothing like that. That's wild to me though. But
I just sit back and
we
observe.
we live in that type of world, man, with the gambling.
I sit back and observe.
No, I brought you on because I had to bring you. You're my dude.
Hey,
Every
man.
time people talk about Pittsburgh, WVU first mention is Mike Logan.
I appreciate
then
that,
Major
man.
Harris and all that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. You know, I think I try to represent for my city, man. I love Pittsburgh. It's been bred in me. You know, people don't know I was born on the south side of Pittsburgh, St. Clair Village.
They don't even got St. Clair.
You know what I mean? It's gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Raised in Whitaker Projects in West Mifflin.
So
and graduated from McKeesport.
you ain't living. You live in McKeesport, nah?
I did. I moved to McKeesport my sophomore year.
Sophomore year.
My mom got a job at
West Mifflin
McKeesport.
area,
Yeah, I grew up in West Mifflin. I
Yeah.
grew up in Whitaker. Mighty Wit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what built me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Coming from Whitaker, which is Mountview Heights now, and it's bad now. It's probably going to be closed down like how St. Clair was. But when I was coming up, it was a village. It was a family community. You know what I mean?
St. Clair was. I'll tell you a story. My freshman year, I just got out freshman year. You know, back then we had no social media though.
Right.
So my man from Penn Hills, street dude, he had a $2,000 bet. He said I got my man 17 years old. He said I was from Philly, so he brought me up there to play older dudes like 25, 26. I'm in WVU. I'm a freshman. You know, you ain't gonna mess with it. I'm at WVU, so I played like 5 dudes for big bread. I ain't gonna lie, I was scared as hell though. I thought someone was gonna recognize me. But back then you ain't have no social media.
You ain't
really know. So you said something. So I was up there playing in St. Clair at the basketball course though. That was a wild ass. That's the first time I went up there.
Did you win all 5?
Nah, hell yeah, I ain't gonna let no motherfucking dude from St. Clair beat me.
Okay.
I'm a D1 hooper every time now.
You know what I mean? They had some dudes up there that could play some ball.
But no, I was a wild story right there though.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
I think we've been through some wild stuff.
Yeah, that's wild stuff though.
You know what I mean, just coming up, just to be here sitting with you, man. That's why I'm proud of you, man. Proud of you doing your thing, man. Keep on.
You know the whole we went through. You know, everybody go through their problems in life and stuff, though. So,
and that's my motto I live by, man. You can live life humbly, or life can humble you. You know what I mean? And I've been humbled, and I've been able to live humbly.
That's how I was at WVU. I ain't gonna lie, I hated WVU for a while, for like 10 years. I hated. I ain't represent. I ain't WVU. But you know, you get over that. Though.
Yeah, you do, but it should never be like that. You know what I mean? It should never be like that, man. And there was times when I drove through. I'll never forget. I was driving through one time, and I was like, man, I should take the kids to see my Hall of Fame bus, because my younger kids, I got 5 kids. I got 3 older kids, 26, 24, and 22, and then I got an 8 and 6-year-old. Yeah. My 8 and 6-year-old, my 8 and 6-year-old, they really didn't know who Dad was. Yeah, so you know, I'm like, I got to show them. You know what I mean?
So is it cool when you go up there with the Hall of Fame, or is it a problem now?
No, it's cool now. I went back and like Rasheed Marshall's down there, he's doing some player program stuff and all that. So
see, it's good having people like that down there, though. Yeah.
So he called me and was like, "Man, come down," and I got to chop it up with some people in Brown's regime, but now he's gone. Yeah. So now I got to go back and reestablish
Coach Rod
that.
He'd be cool though.
I'm ready for it.
Did he go WVU? Coach Rod?
I thought he did.
I think he did. I don't know. He might have came in the early '80s though.
So
see, only dude I know, Jeff Hostetler.
Oh yeah, Haas was a good dude.
Haas a good dude. I know Hostetler.
He's Nealon's son-in-law.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he married.
He's still in the area or not? He probably moved.
But he comes down there a lot.
Yeah, when I was down there, he used to be down there. Hostetler was cool.
Hostetler's a cool dude.
Yeah, West Virginia was not. When I was down there, that was a great place though. I definitely was.
Best time of my life.
Best time ever though.
Best time of my life, man. I mean, I did some wild shit. Lord have mercy.
I ain't gonna God about to say, what's the wildest shit you did, man?
I mean, I did some wild stuff, man. Yeah. I'm talking about like, I don't know what the statute of limitations is right now. I ain't put myself out there. I ain't get me to dirt myself out.
I did some wild stuff there too.
We did, man. I got kicked out of the dorms my freshman year for pulling the pellet gun on my RA. They thought it was a real gun. Yeah, and I'll never forget, man. Coach, they brought me down there. Dean took me underneath. Did you know there was rooms down underneath?
Yeah, I knew it was down. It was rooms downstairs.
So downstairs. I knew you was in trouble because you wouldn't know about that. Rooms down there. But they kicked me out of towers, and I'll never forget. Coach Nealon said, "I'm sending your ass home." Yeah, and I was like, "Listen, you send me home, Linda Marie Logan is gonna kill me." Yeah, that's my raise. My mom. I was like, she's gonna kill me, Coach. I was like, so you gonna kick me out, but my mother's gonna kill me. Yeah. I was like, you want me to die? And he was like, you can't stay in the dorms.
Yeah, where you got to that?
I had to live on my own. I had to make it. Yeah, and I made it. Yeah. With the help of some, good people on campus. He's a shorty. I was making it.
My friend, I lived in Brook, but I was staying in apartments.
I had to. Yeah. I had to survive, but it was a good time. It made me survive.
Did the drinking get to you in Morgantown?
I didn't really drink that much in Motown.
I ain't drinking until I got to Morgantown. I turned into we was drinking every night.
You know, I didn't indulge like that, but I wanted to be like at every party though.
Yeah.
I wanted to be at every party. You know, I ain't have you ain't have a lot of money, so it wasn't like drinking back there. But you know, and then I didn't like beer, so I ain't want to get like gutty. But I mean, I did my fair share of it. That was the first time having moonshine.
That was the first time a lot of shit.
That,
like, you know, being from Pittsburgh, going to like a place like Morgantown, was
Mad Dog 40.
Shit was new. That Mad Dog 40.
Yeah, we had that low class.
We had that low class shit.
Getting tore up, man.
Getting 40s and shit.
I used to fight in school, man. I was a fighter.
No, WVU was definitely. You know what I
mean?
I think back I missed them days though.
I definitely miss them, man. But we got that though. We got that to cherish and hold on to. And like you said, a lot of these kids they're not getting that.
They're not getting that.
They're not getting that because they're bouncing from school to school, and then they're worried about how many likes they can get on this and this and that, and they're missing the whole environment of college, man. Yeah. College is the best time of your life. The best. I mean, I wouldn't trade anything because I don't live in regret. But I wish I would have just, attained a little more knowledge from my experiences instead of just enjoying the experiences. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I could have took a lot from everything that I went through down there. But instead, I was just day by day.
Oh, yeah, that's why. No, Morgantown day by day though. You live in the moment. It's really day by day. People don't understand how wild it is until you go down there.
You can't really explain it to somebody. You just got to go experience it.
Yeah, I tell everybody Morgantown is different, man.
It is, man.
Especially when you play sports. It's wild, man.
Come on, man.
It's the wildest shit ever there.
Come on, man.
So I loved it. I love WVU. I do stick up for WVU because people think West Virginia is like some third world country or something.
Well, especially people from Pittsburgh who be like, that's old hick town, dude. And I'm like, bro, you just don't know. Now, I do have some family down from my father's side that lived down in Beckley, West Virginia.
The southern part,
you know what I mean? Yeah. So you go down into some of those parts, you be looking around like, but they still be kicking it down there too, man. Cool. I used to go down there every summer.
I love West Virginia.
It's cool, man. You know what I mean?
I appreciate you coming on and like I said, episode 1 of this, but the Eat Shit Pittsburgh.
Eat Shit Pitt.
So, I mean, a lot of people might, Pitt recruited me. It came down to Pitt and WVU, though, so.
Pitt ain't recruit me. I still got to.
So I just don't like Pitt, though. Like, I don't got no problem with Pittsburgh. I just don't like Pitt, though.
Listen,
that's why I use the name now.
I ain't going to lie, though. I wanted to go to Pitt. Being a Pittsburgh kid coming up and seeing all that, Tony Dorsett, Dan Marino, you know what I mean? I was like.
Yeah, he old. He talking about, he old.
Bro, man, I played against
Tony Dorsett.
I played against Dan Marino, bro. Played against Dan Marino. That's crazy. Got a $20,000 fine for hitting him.
But you came up when Pitt was Pitt, though.
Yeah, I mean, they was all right, but I just, Pittsburgh boy coming up, because at first I didn't even really think about scholarships and all that stuff. You know what I mean? I was just playing football, and if it happened to happen. It wasn't until my senior year where coach was like, "Man, you're gonna probably get recruited." You know what I mean? I'm like, "All right, so let's go at this thing." And then I'm thinking like Pitt's right here. I'm like, it's automatic. And I'll never forget Sal Sinceri came to the school. They was like, "We got one scholarship for your team," and I'm like, "This is me." I left the physics class, went down to Coach Smith's office, and they was like, "Nah, bro, we here for Jason Chavis."
He was the linebacker. Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
he
ended up going to Pitt.
Yeah, he went to Pitt.
Yeah, he did go to Pitt. Yeah,
I was like, "What?" I'll never forget. I went to Coach Smith's office. I said, "Man, who's their biggest rival right now?" He was like, "Well, West Virginia." I said, "I'm going to West Virginia," and I said, "I'm gonna beat their ass for 4 years." I was undefeated against Pitt, and every time I made a play, I would go to their sideline and just look.
That's when they had the old Pitt field, man.
Oh, the best environment.
No, Pitt field was that's a classic right there.
That was the best.
That playing down with the Steelers play. That's not no college.
That ain't no vibe for them.
Yeah, ain't no vibe. But that old Pitt Stadium.
Yeah.
Who was the running backs at the time at Pitt?
I think Billy West.
Oh, Billy West came after.
I remember. Who else was there? Jails and Curtis Anderson and
Billy West came after Curtis Morton.
Yeah. I played against Kurt too. I played against Kurt.
Was the quarterback? He was with Curtis
Who else
Morton.
Who was the quarterback? Oh man, I forget who their quarterback was. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But and that's a part of it, because I was like, I ain't even worried about Pitt history now, because I was mad, bro. I was really mad that they didn't recruit me. Like they didn't offer me a full ride. And I'll never forget, and they was like, Coach Smith was like, well, it's probably because you didn't have your scores yet. You know what I mean? I was like, well, I'm gonna get my scores. You know what I mean? Because I ended up passing my SATs and doing all that stuff. And he was like trying to make excuses for him, and I was like, no.
Yeah, they don't got SAT no more.
I was like, no, that ain't it.
Back then, you had to pass the SAT.
Yeah, definitely.
They don't got none of that no more. So it's like, see, that's
a
grind. That's a grind right there.
Yeah.
Having passed your SAT, might go to JUCO prep school. Nowadays, they don't got none of that though.
Well, Pitt, if y'all listening, who's the new AD up there? Listen, them Logan boys is ready for that scholarship. I'll let them be Panthers if y'all give them a full ride.
I don't got no problem.
Make it up.
My son ever come up and go to Pitt, WVU, it's about that. You got to show me the money, though. It's like, we living that. Whoever got that money.
For real.
Give me that back pay. Give me that money, man. But no, like I said, I got my man, Mike Logan on here, episode 1, Eat Shit Pitt. I'm out. Your boy Drew Fino. Holla at me.